Good evening, everyone. And welcome to Gray Man Prepping. It is time for Survival Saturday, and tonight's topic is after the Constitution is revoked, what are your plans now? How's everybody doing out there? Let me hop over here and see who all is. Okay, I'm seeing some interesting comments there. Let me go to the top of the comments. And all right, first one in was Walt Rogers, then Troop 1351, followed by Family Clan Wolf, then CB at Hugo Homestead, then Kalen Strain, Urban UK Urban Prepper. Hey, Mike. Daniel Berry Sports Highlight. Did I say Aiden Ear's here. Moon Over Miami, the Aquatic News Network, Angels Homestead, Chef Tech, Mark, and Diana 2's here. Happy Mac is here, and Ricotta. And once again, the numbers just dropped from like 17 down to 12, which means we had a bunch of trolls in here trying to figure out a way to make a comment without subscribing to the channel. That's why, Market, you got to be a subscriber to make a comment. Keeps the trolls out of the house. All righty. So tonight's one, this video will probably get a little notification. It is not suitable for ads to be placed on it. However, there'll be a lot of ads placed on it from companies like Emergency Essentials, For Patriots, Concealed Carry, a bunch of the other ones that usually put ads on the stuff. They'll still have all their ads on there, but they'll say, "Oh, we can't pay the full amount because it's not suitable for them." Heck, this is exactly the type of thing they want to be on. Worse. Wait till you hear the storylines. Okay, so let's get into this because several things I want to make sure I touch on. And so let's get this back over here. So warning, danger, Will Robinson, possible fantasy fair porn Kool-Aid drinking zone ahead. But then again, maybe not. Okay. Causes for the Constitution for being revoked. Let's skip to the bottom one, nature cause. The only way nature can cause it is to trigger a bunch of other events that will lead to a total collapse of government anyways. But for just the Constitution being revoked, no. Let's work our way up to the next one. Number two. Man-made neglect. Yeah, that's a big one. For those that don't get off their butts, get out and vote. Those that don't read what's going on and look at the candidates and take an interest in their local government, their county or parish government, state governments, and national government, of course. But if you don't take an interest, let your voice be heard. Let the candidates and the elected politicians know where you stand, as well as getting a bunch of other people involved to let them know where you all stand. Yeah, it's, neglect. They're going to say, oh, we can get away with anything. Nobody cares about it. And that's going to be the problem there. It's going to be the neglect part is that we're not taking care of it. And then there's also neglect for some of the ones that are elected because, oh, we're elected. We don't need to worry about stuff. We just make sure we get elected again. This is a real cool, nice, cush job. Don't got to do much. And I get, free health care. I get free a mega retirement package after I serve 2 terms. This is what I'm going to be doing for the rest of my life because it's so simple. I can just kick back and not really worry about anything. That's another neglect one. Then there's the ones on purpose thinking, all right, we are better than those who elected us. We are not we are not public servants. They are the servants of the elected. They need to serve us. So we need to make sure that they do serve us. And we need to, push our agenda and make sure that we are always in total control. All right. The man-made neglect and man-made on purpose fit heavily into a lot of novels that are out there. A lot of the dystopian futures, the the Tawaki books, the SHTF books and stuff, where it's not a natural disaster, it's man-made. Oh, yeah, Kayla nailed it. Yeah, both at once. So it is, according, I've read, I don't know, I've always been reading books since I was 12 years old, visiting my grandmother during summer vacation. When I was reading Sir Arthur Conan Doyle books, and I forget the one that wrote the Perry Mason ones. My grandmother had all these books, novels, and I'd be reading them, all the time. You can only play so much. Seriously, you can only play so much, and then you get bored. And then you want to, you've got to play in the mind. So you get books out and you start doing it. But even some of the books that she had back then, was it John Carter and the Princess of Mars and that series and stuff had a little bit of political intrigue and stuff like this and everything else. But as I got older, one of the first ones that brought this out to me was a series by Jerry Ahern called The Survivalist. And even though it was political saber rattling between two political powers and the boom 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 boom, afterwards was a lot of crap going on. And then the other one right behind that, which really had the political play and the getting rid of the Constitution because it's not working for us, the elitists, was the Ashes series by William Johnstone. And Myra Page is in the house. And then more recently, books I've been reading, a lot of them I've been reading lately, it has that as the theme behind the trouble of it, is that the professional politicians who are against the Second Amendment, you can pick that whoever they are, no matter what party they are, if they're against the Second Amendment, try to push things and do things, and they're of the mindset of an armed citizen has a vote and has to be listened to. An unarmed citizen is a slave. There, I said it. An unarmed citizen is not a serf; they're a slave to the system. So there's a lot of different ones out there where they played the game and set some of the intrigue going on in the first book. You can see the intrigue being played and stuff, and people trying to get prepared and do stuff to get ready for it. And Control C. Let me drop this down in there. And so that's how, that's why I got this thing going across the bottom here. Not novel storyline, fiction sometimes mirrors life. And that's the problem we have now. That's probably the biggest mistake our founding fathers had, was they didn't put term limits on senators and representatives. George Washington said, 2 terms is enough for me. I'm out. This is not a lifetime thing. And so, and that was kind of held to the standard for everybody since then, up until FDR. the great demon rat, I can't pronounce it. Anyways, yeah, super ego, even though he's in a wheelchair, had a super ego and thought he knew best of everything. And it wasn't until him that the United States, people in the United States began to refer to the country as a democracy. It has always been known as a republic because that's what it is. But he kept calling it in his radio news, in this great democracy. It ain't a democracy, it's a republic. And for those who don't know the difference, in a democracy, or let me say, in a republic, anyone can vote for anyone and anyone can run for any office. In a democracy, anyone can vote for those of the upper class of the chosen candidates, and only candidates can come from the elitist class, or unless they are brought up, and trained for purpose. And I'm not saying anything about a certain guy who is an abomination, but you can figure that out from there. Exactly, Kaylin. Yep. And democracy is the slippery slope to chains. All right, so I dropped the link in there. Let me pin it so it doesn't look completely out of sight if certain ones want to come up here and join me up here on this. But yeah, I don't think I have anything after it. Do I? Yeah, okay, yeah. We'll talk about it in a second here. But as far as novels go, this is a major theme in a lot of modern non-EMP Twaki novels. And so there are quite a few dystopian novels where it's an EMP, it's a comet, it's a meteor that impacts and causes everything. But there are a lot more novels coming out where it's written bad behavior on elected officials who have never had a real job in their life, yet they got elected, and because they had the right backing, because they backed the party's play. And so, and that's one of the things they do is they keep changing the laws and tweaking things and putting in, quote, non-laws like the ATF was doing that aren't laws, but they set their rules, but, we can enforce them as if they're laws. Anyways, so that's what a lot of them have as what's going on. And that is what happens in a lot of those novels and stuff is the number one cause for the Constitution revoked is bad players, people who are supposed to be public servants who are out for themselves and just trying to protect their phone. To quote Mel Brooks, we got to protect our phony baloney jobs. And let me switch that there. Boom. Hey, Mark. Can you hear me? I can't hear you.
You can't hear me?
Oh, now I can.
I'm watching my my raccoon gray circle gets bigger and bigger. So
yeah, now it is. Nothing was happening to it here on my end.
That was too fast.
But yeah, and so there is a lot of stuff out there. Sumi's in the house now. There is a lot of written fiction out there which could become real life really quick if we don't get off our lazy patooties, get involved in our city, county, state, and federal government. Vote, let your voice be heard. Write letters, send emails to our elected officials. Let them know, if everybody would tell them how they feel about certain bills coming up, those bills wouldn't make it out of committee. They would be DOA.
You got to make sure you have a somebody not in charge, but somebody you're emailing that would actually listen to what you're saying and not go with their own agenda, which is what they think their constituents want, which is 90% of politicians out there. Well, this is what they want. Who?
No, it's not.
3 people in the neighborhood that you're friends with? Okay.
Yeah. And that's the thing. So if more people would put the information out there how they feel, more of it would trickle through to the elected officials. One way or another, it would trickle through. And Sumi says you could end up like Canada, and she should know she's from Canada.
Wait, let me get this straight. So the previous PM swore his allegiance to the Queen and her Privy Council, and the new one came in and swore his allegiance to the King and his Privy Council, and all things will remain secret. Wait, and they did that on public TV, and nobody seems to say a word about it.
It's like, why are they swearing their allegiance to they are a separate country?
To England. There you go. They're not. They
should be swearing their allegiance to their constitution.
Yeah, well, they don't.
To the people of their country. Novel ideas. You're a public servant. You should be swearing your allegiance to the people you're supposed to be serving.
So did you know fun little thing that happened there? When the king shows up and sits in his throne, whatever, if he's addressing I forget which way it goes, if he's addressing, I think, the public or other political people, and that he is to be wearing his military uniform with all his medals. And he wasn't, which says all kinds of weird things that I'm not even going to get into, but a lot of strange crap going on in England in general now. Yeah. Who's really in control?
Yeah. Well, since I can trace my genealogy back to several kings of England and several queens,
so I'm
going to overthrow England and take my place as the rightful monarch. First law is every citizen has the right to own a pew-pew, no matter what type of pew-pew.
There you go. You're He-Man.
Yeah, everyone has a right to have a sword.
Oh wait, not anymore. Just ask Mike if he's still kicking around.
Well, that's what I'm saying. First law is all right. We need this, and this fact. And then then you'd see all the professional politicians going, "Oh no, we would be in danger then of being kicked out." Yeah, good. I would like to kick out anyone that's has served more than 12 years, period. Kick them out of our government.
I'd love to kick out anybody that has dual citizenship to any other country besides America.
Yeah, that too. I would like to kick anyone out that is not a natural born citizen of the United States. It shouldn't be just that the president it shouldn't be just that the president has to be a natural born citizen. It should be that any member of Congress also has to be a natural born citizen.
Kamala shouldn't have been vice president because she couldn't be president because her parents were not natural born and she was born in Canada. But nobody talks about that either. But she was running for president because whatever, you know what? Our political theater is such a train wreck of garbage. Yeah.
But anyways, mitigation to this problem. Get off your butt, get out and vote. Read all the bills that are being presented to be voted on, and look at it. If it doesn't do the most good for everyone, vote no on it. If it's a special interest bill, vote no on it. If it's not for the betterment of society, vote no on it. If it lines
you got to read it. You got to read those bills and questions 7 ways to oblivion, because they triple negative things, they triple positive things. They twist those words so bad to make it look
and
it's
if
great for everybody.
Yeah, if it twists the words in any way, shape, or form, vote no on it, because that means they're trying to hide something.
Yep.
And for recovery on this, there's only one way for recovery. We're not going to talk about that, although because I don't want to get in trouble, but I'm just going to hint at it. Look at Thomas Jefferson's. The Jefferson Papers, the Federalist Papers, and all the stuff written by Adams and stuff as well. Because even though Adams and Jefferson disagreed on a lot of things, the stuff they agreed on, oh yeah, that is the basis of this country. Yeah, problem is, anyone whose parents come here illegally and their children are born here, those children, by the Constitution, are not supposed to be U.S. citizens.
No, that anchor baby, whatever clause they have in there, was meant for the.
It's not an anchor. It's not an anchor baby clause. It's not
an anchor baby clause. It's if you were a slave and born here, okay, you're a natural citizen now. That was when that was changed, but they twist that one into oblivion.
Yeah.
To say if you're born here, you could be a citizen, which is why.
No, you can't. They're legally.
China does that. They send Chinese women will come over here at 8.5 months pregnant on vacation, so they can have their kid here. And they're a U.S. citizen. I need to stay with them. It's like no. Then they're changing that, so it's like no, they're a U.S. citizen. You're going back to China when they turn 18 years old. They can come back by themselves.
No. Not even that.
Well, I mean, that's what they were trying to do.
Yeah, they're still trying to do it. And it's like, no, if the parent is not here legally for not just on a visit, but here legally, no, the child cannot be a U.S. citizen. All right, let's get off of that one. We can fly. We can beat that one for 4 hours, no problem.
Damn Constitution, always getting in the way.
No, that's the problem. The Constitution is not getting in the way. It doesn't need to be rewritten. It needs to be reread.
Yeah.
Actually, it needs to be read for the first time by a lot of politicians. They've never read it.
A lot of them don't have their, what do they call it when you swear your oath to the Constitution and then it's certified? A lot of them aren't even certified.
Yeah.
And there's that problem. But that's a whole other rabbit hole.
But in one of the going back to the novel storyline here, in one of the ones where the president suspended the Constitution during a crisis, a economic crisis that was fabricated by them. Froze. So he suspended the Constitution because of the crisis they created. And we're just suspending it for this, blah, 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 blah. All this other BS in the book they were talking about it, which sounds like CNN and some other ones. Anyways, they went, several states go, oh, heck no, we ain't joining you. We're seceding from the Union. And when Texas, New Mexico, Utah, Idaho, and Montana said, no, we're seceding. All of a sudden, it's like, wait a minute. All those, North Dakota, all those military bases were seized by state personnel. So all the little were now under those state controls. That put a big kibosh on the we're just going to come and take you over if you don't. It's like, no. Now we have MAD, just like Russia did. Mutual assured destruction. You screw with us, we're going to take you out too.
Yeah, we can shorten the rocket trajectory to about 1,100 miles. No problem.
We can pack a bunch of them on cruise missiles.
Yeah.
But here's an interesting thing. And my sister brought it up, and I can't remember exactly what the number, article, whatever it is. Texas is the only state that part of their joining the United States is a clause in there that they can leave anytime they want to. If the citizenry of Texas votes, we want to secede from the Union, it's legal for Texas to secede.
I forget what Pennsylvania is. It's a commonwealth. That's it.
Yeah.
They even mention it all the time. The Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, and I forget there's definitions behind that and what they're allowed to do. But unfortunately, Philadelphia is like making all the decisions right now.
Yeah. Hang on here. Let's see. You just brought something I want to look at here. Which states are commonwealths? Commonwealths. There are 4: Kentucky, Massachusetts, Pennsylvania, and Virginia.
Yeah. Now, what does the definition of commonwealth mean for the state?
I'm just kind of looking around here. The term commonwealth was seen as a way to distance these states from the perceived tyranny of the British monarchy and to highlight their constitutional ideals.
It's funny that Massachusetts is a commonwealth. They're like one of them. They're like second to California, or third to California and New York on liberalism, except Western Mass.
Yeah. Okay. These let's see. These states, and it goes especially Massachusetts, Pennsylvania, and Virginia. They kind of snubbed Kentucky just then. Adopted the term Commonwealth in their founding documents during the Revolutionary period and subsequent years. This reflected the desire to emphasize their governments were based on the sovereignty of the people.
There it is.
For common good. I know. Here's why. Kentucky, while not one of the original 13 colonies, adopted the term Commonwealth after it seceded from Virginia and later joined the Union, possibly influenced by Pennsylvania's constitutional precedent.
Yay, Pennsylvania.
Oh, yay, Three River Stadium. Oh, wait a minute, it's gone.
3 Mile Island? Wait, what?
Three River Stadium.
Where's that? Pennsylvania?
Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I actually went there and watched the Pittsburgh Steelers play. And then I watched the Pirates play. There's nothing about demon rats and rhinos. I like the term rather than rhinos as Robukins. Romulans,
Republicans. Or I'm sorry, yeah.
Yeah, so it's demon rats.
Yeah.
Yeah, demon rats are professional politicians of the Democrats, and Robukins are professional politicians of the Republicans. They both rob you, and they're both dirty. Vote the Democrat in favor of not reading bills they want to pass. Yeah. Now the people need to get together and get a their own thing put through saying no, all bills must be read, before they can be passed and everything else like that. Yeah, most people are still too complacent. Anyways, yeah. So the possibility of the Constitution actually being um, revoked or suspended, not as easy as a lot of these fiction writers would have you believe it could be. But it's not. It's not 100% impossible. It's not 90% impossible. That's the scary part. That the percentage of it happening is getting the percentage of it not happening is lowering down. So the percentage of it possibly happening is coming up. When they pass, yeah, that's when we got problems. Yeah, single item bills, not 40 bills piled into one, and then everybody jamming all these secret stuff in the bottom and stuff and hiding things in there.
Oh, the Cromney bus bills. You know how that works, right? I know you do. I don't know if everybody else does. It's like, one congressman says, I have this great idea to, give $500 a piece to women with no husbands with one child. Okay, great. They go to see the next guy and say, hey, would you support this? Well, yeah, I'll support it, but I want this. Will you support that? Okay, now you got two. And then they both go to two more people and say, will you support this? It's like, well, yeah, I will.
Adding lines on there.
Every time they see somebody else, they add their own bullshit on there. And by the time it's done, it's a 4,000-page bill that started with one thing, which is like they keep saying, one bill, one vote, not a Cromney bus bill with a million things in it that they have to dig through it, and then the Senate has to go through it and say, okay, we'll approve this, not this, not this. But they do their own bullshit. We
used to call those pork barrel bills.
Yeah, they still do.
Everybody would throw something on there to get something out of it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll vote for that, but I need $500,000 for some group to do something somewhere. And that's only for 1 year auto renewal hidden in there. Yeah. So every year they get another $500,000. Who's getting it? Who the hell knows? I wonder where our money's going.
Dinah says, trouble in California. National Guard called in. Summer must be here. Yeah.
Oh, they got all kinds of stuff going on. I was watching that a minute ago on Fox.
And of course, the great nuisance is out there, talking out both sides of his mouth and out his butt.
I thought his mouth was his butt.
Huh? No, he's talking out one side. He's talking out one side of his mouth to this group, out that side of his mouth to another group at the same time, and talking out of his butt to everybody else. Giving a manure load. Yeah. Once again, get involved in your local. Start locally. Get involved in your city government, county government, parish government, whatever. Get involved and go to all the meetings. And if you hear something you don't like, and they say any other question, raise your hand and make it known that if something you don't like, say, hey, this is not cool. This is not for the betterment of everybody. You're catering to just individuals, and as public servants, you're not supposed to do that. Let them know that they're what their responsibilities as public servants are. Yeah. And let's see. Let me check the calendar here. So on the either the morning of the 13th or 14th, Friday or Saturday, I got to drive to California. Because the staff sergeant said I had to. So she's got getting stuff there, and I need to go through.
You bringing the trailer with you, or just the truck?
No, that poor Toyota is getting so tired pulling trailers that even when I just drove up to Idaho Falls today, towing the trailer, it was you can tell the tired engine is tired trying to pull it, and pulling 3 yards of compost back. It was like, good thing we're going downhill.
Hey, you should call U-Haul or stop in and be like, or call them on the phone on their main number and be like, hey, do you guys need any trucks or trailers transported back to California from Idaho? Because
No,
people are leaving and not bringing them back.
well,
And it's
that's the
like,
thing
yeah,
that's not. I don't want to do that.
well, they'll pay you for it.
Yeah, but I don't want to have the hassle of hauling their stuff and have it, and then you have to get a special insurance policy with them, which negates just about everything amount you got to pay for it, negates what you can get from it.
No, not if you want, not if you're going to drive their equipment for them as a business proposition, they'll cover you.
No, don't want to do that at all, because if I'm going there, I got to drive a truck back. And they don't do that. They have you drive there and fly back. So no, I don't want to do that at all with them. But the only thing I might do is I might see about getting a I might rent for locally here for a couple days one of those little car trailers, where you put the front axles up on it, ties it down.
Yep.
Oh, I'll rent it here. Take off down there. Bring the Jeep back up here.
Yeah, bring it back.
They don't know I've just driven 1,700 miles.
Yeah, as long as you bring it back to the place you rented it from, the rates are cheaper. It's when you're dropping it somewhere else they start to increase.
Yeah.
Especially if you're in California renting it one way to go to like Florida or Texas. The rates are stupid.
Yep. Okay, what do we got here? Hang on, let me go back up here. Okay. Government. One vote election. The next one here. City council knew about it. They all just happened. Swept it under the radar. Yeah.
Yep. That's a problem with voting. You have every 4 years, the major election for the president, and that more people show up to that. It's the in between 2 years that hardly anybody shows up to.
Yeah, and unfortunately, here in Idaho, some idiot politician decided to put all or 3/4 of the city government elections on that odd year, not on the presidential year.
Of course, that way they only get all their friends can show up and just vote for them. They get 400 people vote out of 4,000, and 300 of them voted for who they wanted, and that's how they win.
And I found out that the county here to put a thing on the off year election thing several years back about do you want us to spray for mosquitoes? And it was on the off year where practically nobody showed up, and very few people voted on it. But there was one more person voting for it than voting against it. And so that's all the people wanted. It's like no, they didn't. Only a small amount of people showed up to vote. Well,
you didn't show up to vote, so your vote don't count. Sorry.
Yeah,
people voted for it. The majority won it.
Yep. I'm trying to get it back on the election, on a main year election. To have the county discontinue it because they're poisoning everybody by spraying it. Because most people here don't have AC. Mm-hmm. They just open the windows at night because it cools off really quick. And of course, the windows open when they drive by spraying this fog crap, and it gets sucked into everybody's houses. Yeah, politics. Double ads for homes.com and Granger. All right. Anyways, back to it. Yeah. Yeah, like I said, most times where this happens in storyline novels, and some of it's I'm looking at some of the storylines the authors are writing. It's like, come on, man, you get it like that. People aren't going to sit down for that because that's too obvious. You need to do it more subtly, like these anal orifices are doing right now. But yeah, there was one book where the president and certain members of Congress were trying to do a stand-up job, and during the disaster, someone else took advantage of it and started knocking them off, since everything was falling apart and communications was bad and stuff. All right. All you people need to pay attention, shape up, and start rowing for Corsair trainers. Everybody, row, row, row. Yeah. So the odds of this happening right now, no, not very good. Even if we had, it would have to pull something during a meteor impact that is devastating to all the states and weather and economics and everything else, and try to pull something then where communications isn't working. And that's the only way. That communications has got to you got to put a crimp on communications to keep the word from spreading right, if they wanted to do it. But it ain't, it's I don't see it happening too quickly, but I can see the possibility where it could happen. But if everybody gets off the couch, stops eating their Cheetos, gets out and votes, it ain't going to happen. They will, all the elected officials are going, crap, everybody's voting, they're paying attention. We can't steal the government now.
Yeah, it's the midterm elections that nobody pays attention to.
Yeah, that's the other part. Yeah, midterm elections, you guys need to pay attention to that too. That's one thing I really disagree with, the fact that representatives are on 2-year cycles. So they get elected on a major one, 2 years later they get elected on a midterm one. Senators, at least they get elected one on a midterm and one on a regular one, because they're 6-year terms of office, which I don't think they need to be 6-year terms. I think 4-year terms for both representatives and senators, would have worked out.
Everything should be 4-year period.
Yeah, everything should be 4-year. And with a limit of 12 years max. Because that would be the same as senators now having 2 elections, but now they got 3, so they have a better chance on kicking them out. Yeah. But that's just my personal take on it. Let your representatives and local and county and state representatives know how you feel. Yeah, I'm going to harp on everybody. Get off your butts. Get out there and let them know. I go to my city council meetings all the time. I go down to the county meetings, at least every other month. I haven't tried videoing down there yet. When I go in there to video, I got to get all the federal documentation. Say, you can't stop me from videoing.
Yeah, people are like, they nobody really knows when the elections are, and they don't. Yeah. If they're not willing to call, just wait till you start seeing the signs pop up on the street corners. If they're allowed to do that in your state, now you know it's coming. Now you look into it. Now you look into the people. Go call them on a phone. Ask them questions. Show up at their office and be like, hey, why do you want me to vote for you?
This last election, they just had a special election here last month. Why they had to have it, not in November when everybody else is doing it, they did it in the spring here, and
because nobody's paying attention.
And it's like, but it was something to do. It was a special one called for trying to get bills passed for schools and libraries, and fortunately, the one that for our area got slammed down hard. The one down in the county seat down in Blackfoot squeaked by. They only had 400 people vote on it.
Yep.
And it squeaked by.
Out of 40,000, yeah.
Yeah. And of course, there were the ones that one down there were no signs about it at all. Going up, vote yay or nay against it, for it or against it. The one that would have had signs for it for around here and up in Shelley, they had signs, saying vote against this. They're taking more money from you, and it got slammed. So anyway, so I hope everybody got, you hope the one thing you get out of this is get involved, go vote, look at what's being voted for. And if it's anything talking about money and you don't understand it, vote no. If you can't understand it, they're trying to hide something. Vote no. Even a lower turnout for a cat. Yeah. All righty. So coming up here, where is it? There it is. Get the right tab here. All right. So Monday on Camp Patton Family Compound, talking food preservation again. It's to blanch or not to blanch, and why you need to blanch for doing one thing and why you don't need to blanch when you're doing something else. Tuesday on Tactical Tuesday is generators versus power stations. All right. Thursday's the Midnight Ride. Friday is on Camp Patton Family Compound is Friday the 13th. We're going to talk about old movies. We're going to try to talk about old movies. We'll probably get to more modern ones, but we're going to talk about the old ones, black and white, and how they would really scare you.
The Blob.
And so
Attack of the Killer Tomatoes. The Blob, an Attack of the Killer Tomatoes.
The Blob, the H-Man, Abbott and Costello meet Frankenstein, Abbott and Costello meet Dracula, the Wolfman. Lon Chaney's Wolfman is the best Wolfman out there. If you haven't seen that movie, go watch it before next Friday, because that one's going to come up. And if you have seen it, you know what I'm talking about. You got Lon Chaney's, not Lon Chaney. Crap. Whose was it? Hang on. Let me look it back up. Wolfman, 1941. Claude Rains. Boom. Claude Rains. Yes, that one. That is the best. Lon Chaney Jr. was in there, but Claude Rains was in there. Anyways, that is the best realistic played Wolfman compared to all these modern ones. Is, oh, gee, I got a curse. Oh, I'm still so cool looking. Yeah. Anyways, and then next Saturday, after the magnetic poles flip, what are your plans?
Flip them back. I'm just going to spin the needle I'm just going to rip the needle off my compass and put it the other way.
Yeah, you don't even need to rip the needle off. All you need to look at is, okay, red is now south and white is now north.
Yeah, sure.
Anyways, so that's what's coming up here for the next week. And just remind everybody, again, get out and vote, read the things, participate, but keep adding to your preps: water, food, medicine, clothing, learn a new skill, plant a garden, and then Steve's going live in an hour from now. Horse Air Trainers. Me, I'm going to be outside shoveling manure because I just got 3 more cubic yards today.
Yay, stinky shoveling.
Yeah, aromatic, cleans out my sinuses.
That's great. That means if it's that aromatic, it's still green. Yeah, don't just So it's being well mixed in with soil and in the places I don't have anything to plant yet. So, all right, everyone, we'll see you around. Take care, and go check out Steve later. Good night. Have a good night.
And boom.